We arrive at Nurul's residence in the quiet hilly side of Kuala Lumpur. This is also the house of her parents and where she grew up, and where she now stays with her 2 children while her husband is working in Brunei. This is also the place where she holds meetings with her team.
Okay, so we are in your father's study.
Well, library, come
Library.
study. He's hardly at home, so everyone else dominates the library.
Okay. Tell me, how does it feel to be the daughter of someone so always in the midst of some kind of controversies and a lot of the time not the most pleasant circumstances?
Well, I think before 1998, he was a very beloved, popular, extremely well accepted by the mainstream political leaders as Deputy Prime Minister in Malaysia. So to say that he was a controversial figure, it began after the whole sort of fight, challenge, competition with Mahathir Mohamad, the then Prime Minister. So I always grew up with this image of him, you know, larger than life, very charismatic, very successful, very charming, and he was so inspirational. And he is still very, very inspirational. And one of the most ironic things is, before 1998, I was very shy. I was very comfortable to lead a low-profile kind of life. But after he was declared a political prisoner, a prisoner of conscience by Amnesty International, after he was severely beaten by the Inspector General of Police, I wanted the entire world to know
So it's
that I was
changed your
Anwar Ibrahim's
experience.
daughter. Of course, because, you know, being a very popular, powerful politician is different than being recognized as a political prisoner of conscience. It is a different thing altogether. And for me, the latter was more meaningful.
So since 1998 and now 2011, and still these things go on. I mean, how do you actually, do you get angry? Do you get depressed? How does it make you feel?
Well, I think it's human to be angry. It's just a really, really acceptable feeling. But what's more important is we are very lucky because the fact that he was very well known, the experience of his imprisonment, even his case, was different than that of the Socialist Party's experience in the 70s when they were arrested, when they were detained. So we really had an outpouring of sympathy from the public. I'm not saying there were no detractors, there were no attacks, there were no mudslinging, especially by the government and the government leaders. But you just try to stay positive, and the fact that
how do you stay positive?
I mean, the first rule is we know our father's innocent. I think that helped forge the level of strength needed to overcome the adversities.
So you really, truly believe that your father...
I mean, the facts speak for itself. I have been very closely working with the International Bar Association, International Commission of Jurists, following their report on the first sodomy trial, where they stated it was influenced by the executive. And of course, second trial, look at the facts. I think, you know, it's important for me, you know, to move on, because I trust and I believe, and I think the facts speak for itself. And then fight on. And I believe what's also important is we have a larger goal this time around. You know, we managed to deny the 2/3 majority of the government, and we must forge and we must ensure the Pakatan Rakyat, which is the opposition coalition, succeeds. And he is the main person seen as forging the unity of all the parties.
And this is the party that you're a legislator of now.
My party is the People's Justice Party. We have a coalition with the Democratic Action Party and the Islamic Party.
Now, let me go back to this coping with all these challenges, which are obviously, you know, difficult for anybody, I'm sure, to face these kind of challenges, especially, you know, it's concerning your father. Do you ever feel sort of fear? I mean, I asked you earlier about you know, anger.
I think yes. It has been sort of a step-by-step approach for me. It's a natural progression. I did not want to join politics at the earlier part of my involvement in Reformasi, the reform movement. You know, I grew up understanding Reformasi from the eyes of his friends, from the leaders of the AP and PAS, the NGOs, not specifically him because he was imprisoned. So those sort of, it enlightened my worldview, and it sort of built strength bit by bit, and eventually I contested in 2008. But of course, you know, you are fearful. I mean, I am scared in terms of, you know, even being a legislator in Malaysia, even doing your work, even criticizing policies. You have, I mean, I've been slapped with police reports utilizing the Sedition Act. I have had leaders to ask that I be arrested under the Internal Security Act. I've been called a traitor to my own country. I mean, certainly, but I feel if I don't speak out, then we have to constantly live in fear. And I'm so sick of living in fear. I think the fact that what's happened to my father, utilizing the police force to arrest him in such a unacceptable manner, it shouldn't take place in a democratic nation such as Malaysia. So I refuse to be cowed down, and I think we should all fight back.
But what does your father tell you about it, how to cope with it, and what's his explanation on how to deal with?
He's an incorrigible optimist, you know, he's always very driven, you know, if you know him as a person, he's always, you know, on the move, and always reminding us that, you know, we must persevere. So for me, a lot of encouragement from his side. He's also a very, very strong individual, a very strong personality, and he expects the best out of everyone. So I think at the end of the day, I also need to take a very objective look at it. I'm his daughter, of course, but now I'm a legislator.
Do you resemble him, you feel?
I don't know.
Are you his, you know, Anwar Ibrahim sort of?
I don't think we should, I mean, I don't live my life trying to connect the dots. I think I must embrace the fact that when I wanted to contest, it wasn't because of him. I wanted to contest because it was the right thing to do. I wanted to do this small part for the struggle. And I love him dearly, but at the end of the day, people, you know, I must start thinking of my voters as well. Like, I'm representing them. So there's always this balance I keep reminding myself to have. As his daughter, as a leader in the party, as a leader in the movement, and
as a member of parliament, you have your own constituents now with the Partai Keadilan Rakyat, and obviously, you know, you are somebody to be reckoned with by the Malaysian government. But you want to move on beyond the shadow of your father, is that what you're saying? I mean, you want to carve your own...
I don't think it's such an inherent need to do so. I just feel that I'm doing this because I want to do it. And I think it's something that I would like to relate, the experiences that I've had, you know, like for him to be a part of me. It is such a pleasure as well. It's not, it's not something I would like to shake off, you know. He is my father. He's shaped so much, you know, of my worldview, and he's really, you know, a figure that should be, that continues to inspire many people. However, you know, I'm just trying to say that you can only succeed in defending the rights of others if you embody the struggle, if you own the mission.